Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive with Wayne and Will. I'm Wayne Cavanaugh.
You are, and I'm Will Alexander.
Yes, you are, Will. And this week, we're going to talk about the Houston Seminars, weather, competition through learning. You got to have the entry to learn. All that and more right here on the Dog Show Drive. Well, hello there, young William. How the heck are you, buddy? It's been a while.
It's been a while. But it's a busy time of year, Wayne. Life gets in the way. And the heat just exhausts us all. We were just talking about that a second ago. It drags. It just drags you down.
It does. The heat just sucks it out of you, just kind of like it does in Edmonton. In fact, it's been so long. I think the last time we talked was 35 years ago when one of the Canadian teams won the Stanley Cup. Has it been that long? It's been 30. I've been waiting for weeks for this, Will. I
Oh
haven't
my
even called you. Have
gosh.
I not been nice? I didn't text you that night. You know, there's people who would do that, but I know I'm me. So we both are good about that. We give ourselves a couple of weeks
Yeah.
to calm down. This is about the Florida Panthers beating the Edmonton Oilers. And quite frankly, it's hard to hate the Oilers, but I have been a Panthers fan for a long time. So it was kind of
Since you
special
moved there,
because we just want. That's right. That's why I moved there.
I've been a Toronto blue and white since I've been born.
That's right, damn it. You can't help it. I should.
Can't
I was
help it.
born in New York City, you know. Do you know that? A lot of people don't know that.
You should be a
I should
Rangers
be a
fan.
Rangers fan,
Yeah.
but I'm not. Except when
Except
they're
for when they win.
when they win. That's it. But I'm one of the, as you know, I'm one of the Panthers fans who started when they had 300 people in the stands and won one game a year. So special. Thanks to the Canadian players on the team for the American team
Can
was
you
special.
name their first goaltender that took them right to the finals?
Yes, I can. Will Alexander.
Oh, I wish.
Jiggy.
No.
Eh,
It
eh.
was actually American born. John Van Beesbrook.
Oh, that's right. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
How did I forget that?
Yeah. See, I'm a wealth of knowledge. Don't ask me about anything else, but I can tell you.
I know. I sang
It's
some.
like Kenny and Irish setter pedigrees.
He's something else. This is Ken Murray, ladies and gentlemen. We always forget which Ken we're talking, or we if we
We
miss,
assume you know who we're talking about.
yeah, and we shouldn't do that because you know what happens when you assume, Will.
Yes, you make an ass out of you
And you,
and you.
or you and me, I guess.
And you and me.
Yeah. Anyway, Ken Murray, who is the encyclopedia of all things sporting and dogs in general.
Dogs
But
in general, but you pick him. You show him a picture of an Irish setter, he'll tell you the siren dam. Doesn't matter what
not
year.
only damn, he'll tell you the year and how many best in shows it had. That's the crazy part. I don't know what year I was born. I don't know what year I got married. I just, and he's like, oh yeah, that was 1963.
Remember that
14
dog?
best in
He
shows.
had this little.
Yep. Yep. Dick Cooper showed it, but I showed it a couple times.
Around, but she was lovely.
It's amazing. It is amazing. And you know, come on, Irish Setter Club.
Hire Ken Murray. Let him judge the
Yeah.
national, especially.
It would be nice. It would be.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Love to see him judge the Irish Setter National.
I would too. I would too. And I know he would. Anyway, so I've been around the planet a few times. You know,
Yeah.
I've been, I did it, Will. I flew to Doswell, Virginia, Will. That's where I flew. Because there were 4 male wire hair Vizslas entered.
All right.
Now, Will, it cost me about 1,500. 2 points. 2 points. That's what it takes these days. It was a perfect example of why a lot of dog show people just go. I mean, I was talking to Bonnie Threlfall. She goes, you think I'm going to apply for more breeds going through that? Flying somewhere to get 2 points because there's 4. And by the way, if one didn't show up, poof, all that money gone.
Yeah.
Not only were they there, Will, there were bitches there and a bunch of specials too. And let me tell you, the quality was amazing. There was a gorgeous winner's dog, a gorgeous winner's bitch, 3 or 4 specials that were all top quality. It was really surprising. And Kim Meredith, my dog show wife, she was the judge, and I observed, or apprenticed, or whatever you do. And it was, so you get somebody like that who's as passionate about dogs and learning as you are. It's a two-way discussion, and you keep talking about it. It was great. That was one of those forms when you hand that in, you're like, I deserve this day. Now, I didn't just glaze by with somebody who doesn't know anything. Half the times I get judges say, you know more than me about this breed. That doesn't help anything. This was great. And Gloria Kerr, she was the other day. By the way, she's just so nice. I love Gloria. I
Oh,
just
she's a
love her.
wonderful lady.
But she
Wonderful.
really is. And it made a good weekend. And Jimmy Moses was there. So Jim and we sat and watched dogs for an hour. And I probably learned more than I would if I went to 15 dog institutes. You know, you bring up something on any breed, because I never ask them about the breeds I know about. It's always like Chihuahuas or something, where you realize. And there was a shepherd. We happened to see shepherds. And the dog that won, well, I already said the show, so I can't do that. But he was so good at describing the virtues and liabilities, not just faults, liabilities.
Yeah, and he's good at it too, because he's not when he does that. I've sat with Jimmy too and talk about dogs. He never badmouths a dog. He'll say,
Oh,
"Oh no," he'll say, "I wish this was stronger here,"
mhm.
or kick out here. What he's very good about it.
You know, say they should do it this way, and I'll teach you the positive part.
You
It's
know who
great.
else was very good at that was Jeff Wright. Just he's a rep now, so
Mm.
but like I remember talking to him about cockers and ETs and whatnot, and he never ever down. He was specialing dogs at that point. He
Yeah.
never downgraded anything. It was competition. He'd say what he liked about that dog and what he liked,
Mhm.
what the breed needs from that dog. He was so good. I could listen to
We need
Jeffy all
more of
day
that.
too.
I'm so sick about of people banging on other people's dogs that they're not showing. You should know that same dog in their truck would be the greatest one that
Oh,
ever lived.
exactly. We used to have a magic truck. We used to have a handler up here. They used to call it magic truck because he'd bang on dogs, and all of a sudden he'd get that dog, and it would go in one door and come out a superstar, the best the breed's ever seen.
It's true. It's true. And also, my girlfriend, Pat Trotter, she was there. And did we have a good time? You
I'm
know, and
sure. Yeah.
just to sit and talk dogs, and Pat had some time. We all had some time. I was only there to observe two breeds. And they had light loads. There were days that Kim didn't have a group, someone who has six groups. So we had time to sit and talk and go to dinner. And that's what makes it special. That's a learning experience. Not
No,
just
no,
That's just not calling someone you don't barely know and having them sign a form. You know, that's a real learning experience. But again, you have to have the time and resources to do this. And it's ridiculous, is what it is, because the people who are getting advanced are the ones who have the money and the time,
right.
especially, and the focus. You have to have nothing else going on in your world to fill out. I was talking to Sue Forsythe. She said, I'm about 6 hours a day in my office, just getting ready, do these forms, these applications, fill out stuff, do my expenses. We don't get paid for that. If you think this is
Even
going to
the
be,
online tests, Wayne. I took some online tests a few weeks ago, and they're open book one, but it's not. It's a test on taking a test.
it is.
It's so you have to sit there and I don't know why they want to fool you about the weight of something or the height of something. Why? Why do they want to fool you?
I know. Like you could 200 breeds, you can remember all those things. It's in the book right there on your table. You just have to look. You can't remember. Who can remember 200 breeds, measurements, and weights? Maybe Ken Murray, but
Yeah,
nobody else.
exactly. But it's just as and if you mess a word up and all of a sudden it changes slightly, it's like I don't know why they try to trick you. Like you easily get them done, but I mean, you've gotta. It takes time, and you gotta think them through and think about why they're like. Okay, that's a trick question, or that's a trick question, but I don't understand why trick questions. It doesn't make any sense to me.
There was some, I remember one of the questions on some test was um, longer, and is it longer or slightly longer? And it was in the standard, it's two ways. The test, it was two ways. So I called the office and they were great about it. They said, yeah, that's just wrong. And the example they said is, do you want to get slidered to the edge of the cliff, or do you want, I forget what it was, but it was like that little inch can kill you. And they changed it, which is great. But it's hard for them to keep
I
all those breeds straight and keep reviewing them all. But still, I mean, tests are tests, but this flying around and go in these breeds you'll never see. These people put this major together and they let me know about it. I'm on their Facebook group.
Like you own one now.
I am. And I'm telling you, these people are awesome. They went out of their way to show me dogs before and after. It wasn't just the in-ring thing. We talked about them way before, way after. And one guy, terrific guy, Michael, he was the past president of the club. He's not an approved mentor.
He's
So all
not,
I, no, you have to be on that list to be an approved mentor.
right?
Some people just don't want to bother, don't have the time to bother with all the questions you get. Hey, can you sign my form? Do you want to learn something? No, can you sign my form? So some people just don't do it. But Peg Grunitzky she was the best mentor I ever had,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
period. And I advise you, if you want to learn about those, you give her a call and go through her
Didn't
program.
you send me the link to that
I
seminar?
did. Yeah. I'd sent you the whole seminar. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And these are people that I keep calling back. So who do you put for a long-term mentor? I'm calling all these people the rest of my life. I just thought of a question I want to ask somebody for a breed that I'm applying for. I know the person who I can get a point for answering it for, but that's not what I want to know. I want to know exactly how this works. And I'm calling someone who I know and respect, who's not an approved mentor, to find the answer. It's just a joke. I'm getting sick of it. But quite frankly, they got to do something, I guess. It's like trying to keep everything fair. Um,
Yeah, but
Something like that just to go.
life's
Oh,
not fair. We've been through this already before.
I went to pick up at a grocery store. Cheryl does this online ordering, and then she picks it up and they put it in her car. Well, I think maybe I've gone once or twice, but I went yesterday to pick up the order. And this young woman, very young, came out with the stuff, groceries, put it in the car, and we start talking. And she says, "Well, we're sorry." She wasn't that late, like 5 minutes late, but she said, "We're sorry because we're real short-handed." And I said, "Oh, just busy time of the year." And she goes, "No, we have people, but they fire them because of this point system." So I'm like, "What's
Wait,
that about?" Because, well, if you're late, you get a point. If you're late for come back from lunch, you get a point. And the one guy who was our hardest worker, our best employee by far, exceeded the points because he lives in the country and twice in a blizzard, his old car couldn't make it. So a guy that couldn't make it, that's too many points and you're out. You just lost the best employee you
yeah.
had because you're trying to be fair.
Yes.
Everybody's got the same number of points in that company. And even if you're the best, but you had a good excuse, the point's the point. You're late. Doesn't matter if you get hit by a bomb, you're late. That's a point, you're out. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
life's not fair.
I think the human factor is gone now. So
Yeah. Oh, well, whatever. Well, I'm looking forward to this. This has been a great process for me because I didn't I could have sent in an application when I finished my provisionals almost a year ago. There are people that the minute they finish their approvals, the application is already being sent in.
right.
I don't know. I kind of want to take time to actually learn and refresh. And there's not points for a lot of the stuff I do. I might have 5 points right on the button, but I've spent 20 more hours than anybody else because I want to learn. I'm not saying I'm going to be good at it. I'm just saying I want to try my best.
Right.
That's what we can all hope for. That's
That's all.
all.
That's all we can ask for is trying your best. Like again, I always fall, but people ask me all the time. People, my friends will ask me, "Do you mind if I showed you?" I don't mind if you show to me. I said, as long as you know,
I'm
because
losing.
I am, when it comes to judging, I'm a selfish son of a bitch. I'm
Yeah,
going to put up what I want to put up, and
exactly.
just the way it goes.
And that's the way it's so much easier when you don't
It
have to keep
is.
score and worry about that shit. You just go in there and judge dogs. It's so much easier. I just, I don't know. I don't even, I got invited to do that. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go in another country. I don't want to mention it on ethics and judging. And pretty much it's just what we talk about.
Yeah.
Selfish and don't care.
That's the best way. We talked about that at the very beginning. It was Tom Horner, right?
Yeah.
His book.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I've fallen to that so many times. And even in the ring, I'll be in the ring, and all of a sudden a question will come up and will be selfish. Put up who you
Yeah,
think is the best one. Be
exactly.
fair. And it's also a damned if you do and damned if you don't a lot of times because some of your friends know what you like
Yeah.
So they bring what you like,
Mhm.
and I, I'm doing my, I'm going to do my job.
Yep.
I'm sorry the perception is that, oh, he put up his friend. Well, that's the
It
perception. I'm going to get
happened to
away
me
from it because
recently.
I'm doing my job. So
Happened to me recently. I put up someone I know real well and I've done for in the past because that person had the best dog and they can think what they want. By the way, Brody's an amazing student and is a real sponge on everything in the sport. And he must listen or hear because on my, during at the Point International, we finished Dogs and Bitches, took a break before the breed. And I was walking in the ring and he came over to just, give me a few words. And he said, Dad, be selfish. Please only yourself. And it
no,
was great to have that reminder because I
yes,
had no idea what I was going to do when I got in there. And I'm sure everybody thought I was going to do this or do this or do that.
I'm sure they do.
No idea.
Yeah.
And I thought it became very obvious in a breed in a breed where nothing could walk. I found a couple who looked like pointers who could walk. And it's you just have to do what you want to do, no matter who the person is. It shouldn't matter
No,
even the least bit. Now, with that, we are humans. If it's down to fourth in a class of 10, and from third back are all D's or C minuses, and there's some idiot who's given you a hard time in the past, and there's some nice person who's not giving you a hard time in the past, and they're both equal, guess what?
no, for sure.
We are humans.
No, for sure. Of all things being equal, and I hate to say it, all things being equal, if two dogs walk in the ring and they're equal, and the judge likes me more than they like Wayne, you can't, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to be win.
Absolutely. Uh,
It's human
a
nature.
very good, a very, very good friend and great dog man told me once, he used to be a handler, and he said, I only want to win the ties. I only want to win the ties. And if I'm nice enough and don't complain and I'm polite when I win or lose and don't go around bad mouthing everybody, that's the way you win the ties.
Oh,
And
for
he's right.
sure. It's very true. I've won countless best in shows from judges that have given me second the day before because of my reaction of going
Yeah,
second.
exactly. But
I snatched that ribbon out and gave them a dirty look.
you, what do you,
Going
like my,
second in this.
I've told this before, my famous Forsyth line. I'd never show you a dog to you again, Mr. Forsyth. And he said, if I were you, I'd never show a dog to me again either.
I wouldn't pay to show to me either.
I love that. I love that. Anyway, so I went to these are shows in Doswell, which are great shows, by the way. That I love the facility because it's easy. The grounds are, it was air conditioned. I love that Secretariat was born there and lived there in the yearling barn that you can see. I love all that, and I love the little town. It's so darn cute. The whole area is just great restaurants and small and cozy. I could live there. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
I don't
So
blame
it was fun to go there.
you.
And then and we all had crazy ways out. I had to be there at 8 in the morning, but I had a flight to catch very soon after because I only had the 8 o'clock morning thing with Gloria. And then I was on a plane at 10:30. Um,
Oh, it's a
and
rush.
and then Pat Trotter had a 6 a.m. flight. And sometimes you have no choice that you're flying out at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's the only flight. It happens. And you're flying from Doswell to Carmel. Um, and I think she might have had one of the later groups. No, she had Best in Show. Because I remember they brought in a wonderful plaque and a big banner celebrating Pat, just her judging career. And was really cool.
Well, that's
And and Kimmy was nice enough, Kim Meredith, not Kimmy, Kim, who
nice.
who was nice enough to drive all the way up to the airport with her to get a room near the airport to make sure that Pat got home on time. This is what you do. This is a family, and it's if you pare back all the bad stuff, there's way too much great stuff.
Oh, I
You
agree.
got to pick your chances. You got to pick your horses. Brody ran into a situation last weekend that I thought was you were there
I was there, yeah.
at Circle, and I told him, Brody, you're walking into the easiest fix I've ever seen in my life. And he said, no, it's respect, Dad. I'm going in there and showing, knowing he couldn't win. And it went exactly as planned. And he said, I'd do it again. You just have to respect the judges, no matter what you think's going to happen that day.
I did a thing last week, and
Go back twice, but
I finished my first American champion from
yes,
the
you
red
did.
flag class.
I saw that. I saw,
Yeah,
congratulations, young William. An Irish setter, no less.
Irish setter. Yeah,
And what a weekend that was for Irish setters.
that was a wonderful
What,
weekend
four
for
or
Irish
five
setter.
specialties?
Yeah.
And did anybody win two?
Oh, did anybody win too? Not that I can think of. I think a
Me
different
either.
dog won every
Different
day.
dog every day. Yeah.
Maybe once a dog won twice. But yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty
and it was a
interesting.
great entry night. Lots of depth, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's very
And,
nice.
and I support every judge's decision. You have a bunch of dogs like that, you deserve to be in there, and you pick the dog you like. That's how it should be. No
Oh,
one's
for
getting
sure.
ads that weekend or
A
whatever.
wonderful entry, and it was hot, but I'll tell you, Monroe puts on a good dog show.
Oh, they do.
It was a nice lots of vendors, lots of support. If you needed something, the home was always there for you. Uh,
Yep.
it was a wonderful dog show.
Ann Arbor Kennel Club is just put on a top show every year for a long time. And it's not like they're blessed with all the perfect things in the world, but they do such a good job. It's a pleasure to go there. There's always going to, and it attracts quality dogs.
Oh, for
Those
sure.
groups are strong.
I got
And
my steps in too, because there's a lots of ground to cover
there's
there.
a lot of ground to cover there. And it's often hot, but they deal with that so well. There's water everywhere and fans. I mean, they just, all the little details. Were the groups outside this year or inside?
Groups were outside. Yep. I went inside. I went inside once, and it was too cold. I had to, I had to go outside.
Well, I flew right from Doswell to Venice to our place down there because we had some work being done. And on the way back, um, I fly into Sarasota or Punta Gorda, one of the two. And it was Sarasota this time. And I got on the plane, and two rows behind me was a Vicky.
Oh, yes.
So there you go. Seligman Cushman, is that her?
Vicky Sealer Cushman, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's funny. I just
Vicky Fillinger.
don't do it for me. That's going to be it, right? But she's such a delight, and
Oh, yeah.
what a attitude she's had about judging and pursuing her goals and getting out there and doing her own thing. Yeah, it was a treat. But she came up with a term, and we both said, "What are you doing down here in July?" Right? Because we like it in July. There's no crowds in July. And she said to me, they call themselves pigeons, not snowbirds, because they go down whenever they feel like it, not just for the winter. And that's
Right.
what Cheryl and I are. We're going back down next week again. Um, yeah, we're just pigeons. We go back and forth whenever homing pigeons, whenever we go back. So I'm home for a day, and then this weekend is what day is today, Will?
Today is Thursday.
Thursday. Tomorrow, actually today probably, the show's in this is terrible. There's 3 weekends in a row where the shows start with the letter M. The towns start with the letter M.
Are you judging this weekend or showing?
Oh, I'm entered, but I'm not showing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
gonna be too hot. And
You got a perfect handle there, and that young man of yours, Brody. Let him show.
he will.
Yeah.
So this weekend we're not, I forget why we're not. Oh, I didn't enter this weekend.
That'll do it.
I didn't enter my dog this weekend, but Brody's entered.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go just pop in for and say hello for a little bit in the morning. It's only 45 minutes away.
Which one is you? Where are you going? Madison?
It's in M Town.
M Town.
Jeez, I can't think of it.
Well, like I said, there's Madison, Ohio this weekend. But I don't
No,
know.
it's right. It's right up the road for me. And I
Oh,
can't think of it. Anyway, too many shows in a row. And then I'm entered next weekend under the Whitneys, Bob and Elaine Whitney. And I can tell you this because I'm not going to be there. Because I entered because I was so excited to see that they were judging, and I really respect their opinion. And I knew I'd be the only English toy spaniel, so it's not. I just really wanted to have him go over the
sure.
gut. And he's a puppy, so it's not like I was looking for any heroics. But Brody said, Dad, aren't you going to those Houston Hound seminars? Yeah, I leave on Dad, it's the same weekend as South Bend. Oh, okay. Well then, I guess I'm not showing him.
Well,
So he may
let the
take
young man take him.
he is going to take him.
Oh, good, good.
And he took him to handle when I was away this weekend, he took him to handling class for me.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good touch with that dog. Maybe he should show him another.
He likes doing it, and
Yeah,
when you like showing dogs, you tend to get better and better and better because it's a passion. It becomes a passion.
This is a whole different animal for him, literally, as opposed to a sporting dog that he can show really well. So,
I saw him so briefly this weekend. He was only there in 2 days, but we saw each other when he drove in, and we saw each other here, over
yeah,
there. But it was such a huge
it's a
place
big
that I just
show.
couldn't see him.
2,000 dogs and
Yeah,
2,000 acres. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's
I'll
one of
tell
the
you, I had a hot dog there that was probably one of the best hot dogs I ever had in my life.
really
I don't know who the vendor was, but it was, and I don't
Marshall, Michigan next weekend. Well, Marshall
Marshall.
this weekend.
We
Uh,
are Marshall. That's a team, wasn't it?
well, there you go. Next weekend, or next year, we're gonna go to Monroe and get hot dogs. Well,
Oh, the good hot dogs.
that's what we're gonna
I was I won't say
do. Yeah.
So where am I? Oh, I'm at London Canine Kennel Club this weekend, and only 2 days. I'm down to a weekend warrior, um, and it's gonna be fun. It's a new site, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like. And it's run by Jeremy Brown, who's a good friend of mine. And then next weekend I'm off to Miramichi to judge a Patrick show.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That'll
that'll
be
be
fun.
fun.
That will be fun.
And then from
Um,
there on to South Carolina.
I also found out something, and I want to learn more about this. And I know there's a few people I can talk to. I tried this morning almost, but I really want to talk to these people before I get into it more. But did you know, Will,
I don't know.
Brody went, he had a placement in the owner handler group, a nice one at Monroe,
Yeah.
um, beating, I don't know, hundreds of owner handler sporting dogs at that show. You get the same number of points for that, for owner handler points, as you do if you're the only owner handler entered in the entire show. So why does it for regular groups count?
It makes no sense.
It's so funny. Well, and maybe someone has a reason for it. I can't imagine there is one. But if you win a regular group, you get points for all the dogs you beat in that
Yeah.
group. Not in the only other group. You get a set number. It's like 40, 20, 30, it's a set, whatever it is, but that's all you get.
Why wouldn't it just be like a regular dog show? Dogs
I
defeating,
don't,
because that's what you're doing. You're defeating dogs.
I don't
You see,
know.
Guy Fisher was there on the weekend. It was great to see.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
It was
Yeah.
great. Should have asked him then.
By the way, I saw him the weekend before in Doswell.
Oh yeah. Oh,
He was showing his first
We
game.
hung out waiting for my lunch to be made, and so we hung out
Oh.
for a while, and it was fun. He's
Now
such a
there's a guy. He showed his own homebred Great Dane in Doswell, a little specialty there, and he went best to winners. He was so happy and so it meant so
guy
much.
has Great Danes.
Yeah, his ex-wife bred them, I think, or
Oh, I didn't know that.
somebody did, and that's how he got into them. But mostly boxers. But he has
Yeah,
Great Danes.
I always thought he was a boxer guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and beautiful big black and white dog. But uh, anyway, here his passion for showing that dog reflects right through. And
Oh
when you
yeah.
get a guy in the office like that, that is actually a dog show guy who has still keeps his toes in the water and goes to show, he enjoys every dog show he goes to.
Oh, I've never not seen Guy smiling.
No. He's got a great family too.
Yeah.
He's a real asset to the kennel club. His girls were there, his daughters were there
Yeah.
with him as well.
He's a great
It
guy.
was so
I've
cool.
known him. Well, he was a handler years ago, so we've known each other for a long time. But I've always enjoyed time with Guy. It's just
Yeah.
one of those
Positivity.
guys you want to hang out with.
Positivity. That's what it's all about. Let's get our arms around a little bit of that and have some fun at dog shows. When Kim Meredith and Pat Trotter are on your panel, you're going to have fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That's another reason I went to Doswell because I knew there'd be between Jim and Kim and Gloria and Pat. We had a great crew to talk dogs with and hang out with. So makes it all worthwhile. Well, so I'm going to Houston. Now, I'm a little heavy-hearted about this because man, I don't know what's going to happen. That city got decimated. And I just feel so bad for those people again. 1.5 million people without power. I don't know what Houston's like. I don't know if the seminar is going to go on. I don't know if the Houston shows are going to go on.
Right.
I haven't heard. I haven't asked. It just dawned on me this morning. I'm watching the weather in Houston. I'm thinking, well, what about the dog shows and the seminar? And at first I thought about the people, obviously, but I wondered if it's going to happen. So I'm sure we'll find out soon. I haven't heard to the contrary. Um, Rick Gershwiner and I, we had an exchange of text yesterday. He didn't mention anything about it. But
Sure, it's
uh,
fine then.
Rick's a great guy. He does a great
Yeah.
job. And Robert Stein and Sam. And it's just,
Rick
I'm
and my
looking
old
forward to
boss, Gary
going.
McDonald, were close friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to going. It's going to be, it's all hounds and it's a major one. You get the 3 points because it's one of those ones that's an approved AKC.
What breeds are you going for?
Well, I'm going to tell you that in a minute. Well,
All right.
I have to look. Something interesting about that. I'll be getting learned in Schlugi, Rhodesian Ridgeback, Otterhound, Scottish Deerhound, Pharaohhound, Basenji, Tree and Walker Coonhounds. I might know a little bit
I
about
think
those.
you've seen a few of those.
Couple. Whippets, Salukis, Basset Hounds, and Afghans. Those are breeds I really love and I'm
Are
interested in.
those
And
are you
so
are you applying for all those breeds?
I will this will be I already have a next group of hounds to go in. This will be the group after that.
Oh, excellent.
So this will be my next year project or coming up project. But I had an invitation to judge a coonhound bench show, and they asked if I was an AKC approved coonhound bench show judge. I thought, no, how's that work? So I asked him, Thomas, I emailed him and he's very efficient about those things. He emailed me back immediately and said, that goes to the hound department, not us. So I don't know how you actually apply. I'm going to find out. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I have no problem saying this. I have absolutely judged more coonhound bench shows than any AKC judge in the history of the world, probably combined. So what else do I put on that application?
Yeah, put that on there.
And including an entry of 368. So yeah, I think I know a little bit about those. But I'm sure there's some things that I need to learn about
Oh, I'm sure.
process or
We're
whatever.
always learning something. Right or
But
wrong, we're learning something.
at the UKC, when I first said take them off the bench and move them, I thought they were going to hang me. But now that's been part of the routine. They only used to stand them up there on the bench many years ago, and there's still some of these guys out there. They'd put them on the bench, and the first one that moved would be out. Second was the one who stood still the most. So we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But really, Doc Birdsall is just, I mean, I can't say enough about this guy. He's one of my heroes and mentors in the sport. He's a black and tan coonhound breeder, and he's won everything there is to win. He's judging the world championship this year, the UKC Coonhound World Championship, which is the biggest hunting dog event in the world, according to Sports Illustrated, because it goes on for 6 months. It's an elimination thing all the way down to a few. So it's really cool. And I hope I can get there to watch him. I hope I'm not judging that weekend because he came all the way to the Point International to watch me. And
Oh, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
he's delightful man that no one knows in the sport and should. He's on the UKC side mostly. But his knowledge of coonhounds, unbelievable. I don't know who they're having teaching coonhound seminars on the AKC side, but I'm telling you, Doc could be there. He's a real vet too, and a livestock judge.
Doesn't just play one on TV.
Yeah, he'd be a real asset. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And you have to, some of these breeds, and this is so silly. Well, we've talked about this. More than half are low entry breeds. So more than half you only have to beat 3 to get a major, and more than half, you need 5 points on your first application, or is it your second, instead of 10. So these are 3 point seminars. So on the lower entry, a lot of people just go for low entry breeds because they figure they can get 2 points and get approved for those breeds. I don't play that game. I want to learn about whippets. I want to learn about Afghans. I can't wait to talk to Mary Dukes about whippets, whether she's on the list or not. I don't care.
I know I have a friend up here, Eileen. My Raymond Uruk, who was my
Yeah.
assistant for years. There's a handful of people I've really spoken to a lot about whippets. And when I was younger, remember Max Magder?
Yeah, yeah.
When I was a younger hand, I really had a hard time looking at whippets. I don't know why. I think they're all beautiful. I have whippet artwork because I really love the lines. But I went to Max's one day and I said, Max, I really need help with understanding whippets. And he was great. He brought out good ones, bad ones, and explained everything to me. And I think I have a good foundation in my head now when I look at them. So
Yeah.
he was unbelievable helpful. And I wasn't even close to judging back then. I was still showing dogs. So
Well, I had, working at the Forsyths, we always had the best whippets in the world. And I had Charmel Klansman and Winterford's Bold Bid, two of the best ones in my mind, especially Laird, one of the best dog whippets that ever lived. And, I bathed him, slept with him, and he was the dog in the bus and in the room. And I feel really comfortable with those, right? So I go to watch any big show and I can walk up and walk by and go, that one. But about 15 years ago, I walked up to a ring thinking, whippets, I got this. And there was probably 12 class dogs, and they were all C minuses. And all of a sudden I realized how little I know about whippets.
yeah.
That's the test.
Well, I know
That's
I had that issue, and I actually asked one of my close friends afterwards, and they said I did the right thing. I put the importance on the right thing in that class of C minuses.
right. Yeah, shape is a hard thing to determine. If you can't see it, you can't see it. And I've seen sighthound judges that just can't see that shape thing, and that's fine, I guess. It's but it's not what I want to do. And the minute that happened, I went to work. I went to work hard, and I talked to Jody. I talked to a lot of people about bring me some bad ones. Show me a
Oh,
class of
exactly.
bad ones
You need to see them all, you know.
because I want to give those dogs their time, and I think they deserve C minus deserve every bit of time as an A plus, and I want to know why, and I want to be able to explain to myself and them why. And it's not easy when they're all below average and they're all in the same. Anybody can walk by the group at the garden and say Bourbon or the other one, what was her name? Bourbon and the two whiskey whippets.
Yeah, yeah. The sister. I can't remember her
Anyway,
name now.
anyway, whiskey, I don't know. Anyway, you could walk by in a large group and go, well, those two look nice. That's not hard if you have your shape in mind.
Right.
But that's like I say, these owner handler groups for judges is a real sobering experiences or real sobering experiences because if that whippet walks in there, you have to realize now I have nothing to compare him to. Do I really know this breed yet?
Yep.
And that's important to me.
It's
That's
funny, we were talking about as the weekend dwindled, entries started getting lower, even in the like because last weekend was actually a 5 day show, including the specialty day weekend. So we had big numbers all the way, but Monday, Tuesday, things started to dwindle. And we were talking about a class of two, and someone saying, oh, it's gonna be easy now, class two. Class of two is a hard class to win because it's an apple and an orange. Good dogs
uh,
win big classes easier than they win classes of two.
yep, absolutely. I had that situation in English Cockers not too long ago. They couldn't have looked any different. And one was not showing real well. It was just kind of going around the ring with no spirit. It was merry when it stopped, it wagged its tail. Um, but to me, it had some features in that breed, big rump, beautiful face, that I'm really attracted to. The other one was very attractive and showed well, but didn't look anything like each other. And I'm sure that most people would have put up the other one. But I'm like, no, these are important features. I don't, it's a puppy,
Right.
the puppy class. I don't care if it's not showing its heart out as long as it's happy and not afraid at all. Um, then, I'm going to do what I think in my head. And I know that the rest of the week, it's going to be the other way and I don't care.
No, you gotta be
Yeah.
selfish, but it's natural. When you see two dogs in the same class and they're apple and an orange, if they're the same type and almost equal, it's easier.
Right.
But when
Right.
they're at opposite ends of the spectrum, but both still quality, not maybe not the
Right.
type you like or the style you like, but quality. Sometimes like it's a 50-50 chance there. It's hard.
And
Whereas you get a good
sometimes,
dog in a class of 10, they tend to stick out. So
yeah. And sometimes it's not even apples and oranges. It's like accordions and hippopotamuses.
yeah.
They're they're completely different. This is the stuff you remember. I can't find my keys. You and I and Monica were in Ireland, and I had a class of two cockers. This is a long time ago,
Yeah. That's
like
all.
20 years ago. And I had two cockers. One was totally untrimmed and full of hair, and the other one was a mess. And they could not have been any different. And that's a breed I'm real familiar with. They couldn't have been any different. And I remember struggling with those two. It didn't matter. None of them were going to win anything beyond that. And I remember coming out to the ring and saying to Monica, what do you think? I get that? And yeah, we got that right. We got that right. And it didn't matter to anybody but me. But I wanted to know those two D pluses, and they were D pluses. Which one would you have
Which
done?
one was the one with the most virtues? But
Yep.
it's so interesting. One of the first dogs I showed, a dog named Impresario, he was did a lot of winning in Canada. There was a certain judge that whenever I showed to him in Canada, there's two specials, I'd lose. Like
Yeah.
Impresario would lose. He'd lose the breed. And then he was on the panel at a show in America in Syracuse. There was a class of 70, a supported entry, and I won the breed. Impresario won the breed. And I was getting the photograph, and I guess I must have looked bewildered when he was looking at me. He said I could see how good he was compared to all of them, not
Mhm.
just boom, boom. With all these dogs,
True.
you could see how good, you could see the quality in them. Because I
That's
was shocked.
exact-
I was shocked. I was like, oh, I can't win a class of two under this gentleman.
exactly why judges that judge really low entry breeds can never get good at it unless they really go out on their own and find some big posse to work with. Because you're only going to see two sloogies, one sloogie, two sloogies, one sloogie. And if you don't see 10, you're never going to get that comparative eye. And that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. And when
Oh,
most of these
sure.
breeds we have now, you're not going to see any entry. And if do, it's going to be two. And the learning process of doing those 20 times is zero, zero, unless you've got a big enough entry to feel comfortable sorting from a big group. Otherwise, you're not learning. And that's not the judge's fault. It's just the system and the
Yeah.
way it is now, where you don't get to see enough dogs in a class to learn. So progress can be real slow when you're only seeing one or two every other weekend for the rest of your life.
Right, and it's nothing to do with experience because you look at you and I, we've both been in dogs forever, and some of these new breeds come in, we're in the same category as everybody else. I've never seen them before. I get to see one or two.
Yep.
So
I saw a pretty rare breed. I saw one of them and I thought they'll never be a good one. I saw this one. I thought that is a beautiful dog. I mean, beautiful. Everything about it just looked beautiful to me. And then I thought, but I wonder if it's a good one.
right, you don't know. Yeah.
It's sure pretty.
I fall back on Dick Beauchamp's article years ago where he talks about the new styles and whatnot. And these are all beautiful dogs. But is it a beautiful English cocker? Is it a beautiful beagle? Is it a beautiful? It's a beautiful dog, worthy of a portrait in your
Yes.
dining room. But is
Yes.
it a beautiful representative of that breed?
Yeah. This was the prettiest one of this breed I've ever seen and probably will ever see. It's a real weird little breed. Not weird, rare, but still to this day, I'm going to have to find somebody. I don't know who can teach me. I'm going to have to go to this mother country probably. That's a breed I'll never judge probably, but well, maybe in the best in show lineup, you don't know.
Oh, exactly. You never know.
I want to know. I don't know, but it sure looks good to me. And that's what happens when a new breed comes here and a new one catches on, and everyone thinks, well, that must be it.
And that's the template. That's the one.
That is dangerous
It really
because for
is dangerous.
years, everyone will think they're supposed to look like that. And then when a real one shows up, they're like, well, it doesn't look like the one that did all the winning. Yeah, because this is better. Do you have the courage and the knowledge
Yeah.
to go in there and sort this out and go, I know that's the style that's been winning all these years, the first 5 years of this breed, but this is what we're looking for. And that takes courage and sometimes and knowledge, as you always say. And because that happens over time, maybe you set a new trend with the second one, but we're talking about 10 years and 5,000 best in shows later.
Well, for sure.
So you've got to learn that breed without looking at who just wins. Because
And
that's
and
not going to get you
and
anywhere.
like I was a handler for years, and I was a victim of my own success sometimes. I remember showing a dog, and he won a bunch, and then I brought the next dog out who was actually better, and Mrs. Clark gave the dog a best in show and said, "You're not going to win as much as you won on the old dog, but this is what I want to see."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good dog person. No, of course, it's Annie, but that's exactly what you should. I think that all the time. In fact, I remember I think I've told the story before. Pat Trott and I, she asked me to look at a litter. Oh, this really is 40 years ago, about 40 years ago. And I said, that's the one you're going to show, and that's the one you're going to breed from. And she just smiled and went, yeah. You know, you got to know what you can win with, but it doesn't mean that you don't know what a good one is, right? There's plenty of show dogs out there that I can name 1,000 of off the top of my head who did a ton of winning, who we all knew down deep inside. It's not a great
And they
representative.
were fun. They were fun to watch.
They were fun to
Gosh,
watch. Great show dogs
yeah.
and beautifully done. Um, I'm back to this thing. You were at a 5-day last weekend. There's a
Mhm.
10-day going on right now in Wisconsin. It's 100 degrees. The winds are blowing tense over. The weather's been unbelievable. We're never going to stop the number of dog shows, evidently, since because no one seems to give a shit.
We've tried. We just can't seem to break through.
Right. But I go back to this again. What if the magazines, now they'd have to come together and agree, and they wouldn't do it, agreed that only the top 100, you pick your 100 show. You can show it at 500 shows if you want, but only 100 of them count.
Yeah,
And maybe that will keep you from going to all of them. I don't know. It's just silly.
I don't know that. I don't know if
10
that's the
days at
answer or not.
110 degrees, with blizzards and storms and hurricanes.
I think it's just
Yeah,
the new
we're in this
world
because
and we're
we love
stuck
it.
in it. So
Yeah. What about the dogs?
you pick and choose. Like I told you, I'm a weekend warrior now. I won't go across the board anymore.
It's just too much for the dogs.
Yeah,
What about
especially in
them?
this. Oh,
What about them living in a crate for 10 days? And I
I
mean,
just
I don't know. The
it's
world
just
is
it's
passing
just
by.
so like if it's just when you're struggling to breathe, imagine how they're feeling.
I
It's
know. It's true. It's
and
true.
you're asking them to perform out there, and it's really a hard decision to make.
It is. Okay, here's a hard left turn.
Okay.
Um, Doug Johnson wrote a really good article somewhere about breed clubs and people not being accepted in the breed club. It really is it's been going on forever. It started with, we had the poodle thing. People got in trouble for speaking up about that, which
Yeah,
is just crazy. I mean, suspended. But
crazy.
when breed clubs, I would think, should be a place where you go learn, right?
Hmm.
You love the breed, you join the club. If you're a problem, I guess they can kick you out.
Well, that's different, but it should welcome any fancier of that breed.
Anybody, anybody. If you own one of those, you should be able to be in the damn club.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
you're
not an
not,
elitist thing. It shouldn't be an elitist. Oh,
if you're a jerk, you're not
initiation
going
and run around.
yeah, if you're a total jerk, you're not going to get elected to any office who has any power. If you're disturbing things, if you have suspensions against you, if your behavior is such that the AKC is involved, you sort those out later. But I just don't understand this. You're not allowed. When people like Doug and Jamie who've bred, I don't know, are they not among the best breeders we've ever seen in our recent times in many breeds anyway?
No,
Uh,
exactly.
you're not allowing them in your club? Well, guess what? You're not going to learn anything. They know a little about breeding. You have to like their dogs. I'm not saying that,
Well,
but they know
exactly.
about
But
breeding.
even then, right or wrong, let's say you were joining my Toronto Maple Leaf club, but you are a Florida Panther fan, so I'm not going to let you in but you know what? I'm going to let you in because I'm going to try to convince you that
Yeah.
the Toronto Maple Leafs are the right way to go.
And we're both hockey fans. We have a love for
Right.
right? We have a love for dogs. I just don't understand it. If you've been suspended, if you've been in trouble, yeah, okay, maybe.
That's entirely, yeah, it's a difference, that negates a lot of things and a lot of things in the world. So
A lot of it is power struggles because people get in the breed, they declare themselves the owner of the breed, the maven of the breed. They don't want to be challenged. It's a power struggle.
let's face it, all the wrong decisions in the world come down to egos.
It's true.
It's true. It's egos get in the way of so much.
Yeah.
Make in the way of there was just an incident I heard about this handler that's continuing to show their dog because the dog is winning, but they're owed thousands of dollars. Put your ego aside. Who cares?
Really, who cares?
Yeah.
No one's going to remember.
No, put your ego aside and forget about it. If
The
and,
tax
and
minimum,
owed to another handler, money owed to another handler as well. Like put
you
your
don't do
like
that. You do
no,
not do that.
no, you
As a
don't.
handler, I don't know if you know this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not a handler or if you haven't used one. If you hire a handler that is shown for another handler, and that's fine, you need to call that handler and say, do that. You don't have to call them and say, do you love me? I'm stealing your client. But you do have to say, and you're probably not stealing it. I'm guessing the client
Right.
came,
You can't steal. You don't own
do
the
you owe
place.
me any money? Do they owe you money? Because if
Right.
they owe you
Is there
money,
money owing on this account?
exactly, exactly.
Keep
If
it real
there's money owing
professional.
in the account, you do not take that dog, period.
No, it's just
Very simple.
it's just a unwritten rule in our brethren and of
It
our
is.
sport, you know.
We have a lot of them.
Yeah,
We have a lot of unwritten rules. It's called respect.
right.
Remember that? Respect?
And but
Oh,
egos
yeah.
get in the way. People want to keep winning with a certain dog, and so they're just gonna keep doing it. So
I asked Brody about why he was entering this particular show, and I said, it's a lot of money to waste. You just bought a new house and you drive all the way out there in the hotel and all that. And he said, because I love to show. You know,
yeah.
there's a happy medium you'll eventually find. You have to know that sometimes, often, your life comes first. Your finances definitely come first.
How many stories have you heard over the years of people remortgaging to keep their dogs showing? You know, it's like have your head a shake, people.
No. You have to know when to fold them, and you have
Yeah.
to know when it's important and when it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun, and fun isn't going broke.
But egos get in the way again. Even in those instances, egos
Yeah,
get
they
in the
do.
way. I don't want to give up top Irish setter, so I'm going to remortgage my house.
Yep.
You
I'm
know,
not going to let him beat me, even though no one in the world's going to remember it or
no
even
one's
know
gonna
it
care.
but you.
They remember dogs. They really do. They'll remember dogs. They won't remember that that dog did things or had the number of best it shows. They'll think, I remember that dog. That was a beautiful dog, and I loved watching that dog.
Mhm.
And they remember those things. They don't remember stats. They don't remember anything. They in fact they make up stats in their head just because they like the dog so much. That dog must have been a big winner, you
Well, it
know.
happens with P, right? With Miss P, we only showed her 1 year in America, so there's no records to be set. Do you
No,
remember it's one of the best Beagles and who won the big shows like Westminster, not just the 1,000 little 500 dog shows, the
no,
big
I know.
shows. That's who you remember. You don't remember the one that, in any breed that snuck off and racked up some record that in some place that never had any competition. Yeah, it's one of those things that really makes you think about why we do this and how important it is to us. If you're a professional handler and you're getting paid for this, you do it. But if you're an owner and it's 110 degrees,
Oh,
you're not running for, just stay home.
even as a handler, I remember taking days off in the summer circuit. I said, we're not going out. We're not doing it. They're staying in air conditioning. And I would call all the owners. They'd all agree with me. And we would just take the day off, you know.
But you might get beat by 1 point for the Quaker Oats, Will. Oh my God.
Well, yeah.
Oh, how could you live with
It
yourself?
is what it is.
How could
Oh
you
well.
live? We made up these awards and someone's got to win them. It's terrible.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh, well. Off to you, Senego. I want to prepare. I hate when people go to these seminars and ask stupid questions. I hate it. It really bothers me. So I'm going to study the daylights out of these breeds I've signed up for because it seems, talk about respect, it's disrespectful to go to a seminar and not be prepared.
Oh, I agree. I
It's
agree.
disrespectful to the people who put all the time into making the presentation, all the free volunteer hours and time and money and resources flying there, getting dogs there, organizing it. It's disrespectful to go to those seminars and not have done your homework and ask a stupid, stupid question that shows that you've never even read the standard. Damn it, Will. That's okay.
Well, I'm sure you'll enjoy yourself in Houston learning about the hounds.
Yeah, I hope it happens. I'm sure it will.
Yeah,
But
this
yeah, I'm
point you just have to
looking
assume
forward
it
to it.
is and do your work.
It's funny. I've judged those shows and I've been in those shows many times when I worked for the AKC. It was one we always went to. I remember the first year I went, oh, I was doing it for TV the first year I went. And the hotel in the Astrodome it used to be, or just across the parking lot. Now imagine it's a giant parking lot because it parks 500,000 cars or something for the but it's not far. You can see you can see the hotel, you can see the Astrodome, right? Um, and I remember I was working for, I think, NBC Sports, and they said, we'll have a car pick you up in the morning. And I said, I can see it. I can walk there. And they said, no, you'll be soaking.
You don't understand. You don't
soaking
understand.
wet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've arranged for transportation back and forth this year. Yeah, soaked to soak. And I found out how humid Venice could be this week. It was like, man, and this is not Italy. This is only Florida. Nothing fancy. Well, it's pretty fancy, but the weather was so humid you could barely move. You could barely move.
It's hard.
But I was right across the street from the beach, so you walk down, there's a little breeze. It's beautiful. Oh, fireworks, Will. We have that down here.
Mhm.
Thanks, jerks, for blowing off your bombs, not even knowing what you're blowing it off for. The week before and the week after 4th of July, you've got some pyromania thing in your head, and you have to blow everything up to piss off the dogs and get every dog nervous in your whole neighborhood and the horses. And by the way,
Everybody.
you had a little respect for the soldiers who have PTSD. You went and fought for your freedom, and you got to blow shit up in your yard 10 feet from their house for a week. Get a life. Damn it.
What grinds my gears by Wayne Cavanaugh?
But really, one day's great if you even know what you're celebrating. You
Right.
need to probably read that before you blow
Even then, you need
it
to be
up.
respectful about it. Like it's
Week before, week after, no reason for it. 4th of July, fine. Let your town do the planned fireworks. Leave the crap in your garage, you redneck mother. I worry about the dogs. I really, and the horses
for
too.
sure. Yeah.
But more important, I really do. The irony is I worry about the soldiers who have given their life for that freedom, and they suffer terribly. We're finding out more and more from versions of PTSD. And that's what you need to hear when you're trying to go to sleep. Bombs going off.
Bombs going off. Yeah.
Anyway,
Can't
I'm
imagine.
sure I've offended some people like to blow stuff up. For that, I'm not sorry. No, I am sorry, but I'm not really sorry.
No,
What-
it's just,
What's the peanut butter cup? Sorry, not sorry commercial. I think we've done enough damage, Will.
I think we have to. I think
You
it's
got
time.
your teacup? Got your teacup?
All right. Here's my teacup as well.
Here you go. Cheers, bud.
Cheers. Everybody
Peace,
stay
Mr.
safe
Burke.
out there. And Wayne and I will see you down the road. And if you see us at a show, stop and say hi.
Party on, Greg.
No way. Way.
You gotta be paying attention, Doc.
Thanks, Will. Thanks,
So Ernie, use this in the blooper reel.
That's right. We love you, Ernie. Yes, we do.
Don't put that in, Ernie.
Quit taking yourself so damn seriously.
I'm vulnerable. Some extraordinary data things that are being done around the world.
Thanks, Ernie.
We didn't mention hockey either. Isn't that unbelievable? Put that in, Doc.
Yeah, they want to see it in a blooper. This is good. We're going to be here in a second, Wayner.
Don't lose it, Doc.
Hot.
Use that one, Doc.
Don't use that one, Doc.